Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. You're down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in '94 I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life. I done 24 years straight in the California prison system. During those times, I accumulated some good stories, and I'm going to share some with y'all today. Look, be sure to go to my YouTube playlist and check out some more of my older stories on there. I got them all categorized for you guys in DPs, fights, all that type of stuff. So if you new to the page, some of my best stories is in that playlist. Go check me out, man. But today, I'm going to give y'all one of my Montana stories. If you've been keeping up with my stories, like I told y'all, late 89, I started going to Billings, Montana. I had a couple of cousins who lived out there, and I ended up going out there on a whim, and I ended up staying and liked it, right? So this particular story, okay, so when I get out there, initially, I'm living with my cousin James. Me and my cousin James is maybe about 6-7 months apart. Now, my cousin James at the time, he was and I believe still is, he was a roster though. So we get up there, man, when we get up there, this dude pulled like $20,000-$30,000 cash out of a couple cereal boxes that he had hid in his house. You know, he sold weed, and you had maybe about 10, 15 other dudes up there. You know, they had a nice little roster community going on, you know, among them. They all sold weed, worked on cars, this and that, right? So now my cousin James, like I say, he sold weed. He just sat up in the house all day. You know, it wasn't my speed. It was way, way too slow for me. So I had another cousin out there by the name of Chris Booty. And yes, that's his real name, man. Real quick story about Chris Booty. He had another cousin who lived in Bannon, and his real name was Dick Booty, or at least his real nickname was Dick Booty. Maybe his real name was Richard, and they called him Dick Booty. But anyway, keep in mind now, every now and then when I would hear my mom or dad talking about him, they'd say, Dick Booty got into a fight today, or Dick Booty went to jail up there at the liquor store. Man, I would laugh my head off, man. That was just the funniest nickname in the world to me, man. Keep in mind, though, this was like the early 70s when kids was allowed to be kids, and not only was they allowed to be kids, they was made to be kids. You know, the parents didn't play Ice Spice and all these records that was cussing and stuff in front of the kids. So, you know, to hear a name like Dick Booty, that was just, you know, that was tremendously funny to me. And every time I heard my parents mention that name, I just laughed my head off. You know, I was probably about 7, 8 years old. Anyway, I digress. Getting back to the story though, right? So I moved with my cousin Chris Booty. Now, Chris Booty, my cousin Chris, he's about 10 years older than me. And so he's out there, he's hustling too, but he's selling cocaine, you know, He's basically into the life that I'm used to coming from California, because at this time I'm like 18 years old. So I'm out there hanging out there with him. Now, he had probably lived out there, I don't know, man. He had probably been out there 10, 15 years, maybe more than that. You know, he pretty much went to high school and stuff out there. So he knew all the black people out there. And for those who are wondering, yes, there was a decent amount of black people out there, enough for me to feel more than comfortable. You had a lot of black people from Chicago. You had a lot of pimps out there from Illinois, Rockford, Georgia, just all over the place, Oakland and stuff like that. And you had a few blacks out there who had grew up out there who, of course, my cousin Chris obviously knew because they grew up out there. One of them happened to be this dude by the name of Larry Foster. So one day I'm at my cousin Chris's house, and Larry Foster come over there. I don't know if he came to get some work or, you know, some weed, or because my cousin sold weed and cocaine, or he just came to shoot the shit, right? But anyway, Larry Foster Sr., who I'm talking about, was probably about 5'8", probably about 240 pounds. You know, you could tell at one point in time he was stocky. Now he had just got fat in his older age. He was probably about 38, 40 years old, somewhere around there. Now, Larry Foster also had a son named Little Larry, who was about 15, 16. Now, keep in mind, I'm about 18 years old, right? So every time I see him, I think I took one of my homies out there with me too, my homie Baby Drew. Now, his son, Little Larry, thought he was a blood. Now, this is in 89, so like I say, I'm young, I'm fresh from California, I'm gang banging. So every time I see him, I jump out on him like, what's up, cuz? What's up? He'd take off running and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So now, when his dad came through, my cousin introduced introduced us to each other. My cousin was like, this is my cousin Chill. He's from California. So his pops just said, hey, okay, what's up, man? How you doing? Or whatever, right? My cousin Chris also had a roommate, man, by the name of Ricky Sweetwater. That was his nickname, Ricky Sweetwater. Sweetwater was from Chicago. Probably about 5'7", man, 135 pounds, little dude. But he was a cold fighter, cold knockout artist, basketball player. He had a lot of females out there. The women loved him. So this is my cousin's roommate. So I got real close with him too. He probably was about 10 years older than me. So we'd ride around together, play basketball. He played a lot of basketball. So we'd go play basketball at the park, at the YMCA. So me and him, it got real tight too. Now also, there was this arcade out there by the name of, there was a bar out there and they called it the Arcade Bar. It didn't have a bunch of video games and nothing in it, but for whatever reason, that's what they just happened to call it. Now, the Arcade Bar was pretty much like the hangout of all the blacks out there who was in the nightlife. You know what I'm saying? The hustlers, the pimps, dudes who would just kick it, want to have a good time. You had a lot of people coming to the bar to drink and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And so the bar was where we hung out at. I would hustle, sell dope about the bar, all that type of stuff. Hang out, cats and shoot pool or whatever. So, one night in particular, we all in there hanging out at the bar. Now, the Arcade Bar got this big old heavy wooden door. When you come in, it was like a little pavement that goes up. And they had hand railings on the right side. I believe when you walk up on the left side, they had a jukebox, and then they had a couple of those video poker games that you can pull down, or no, that you tap and play. Then to the right, it was the bar, long wooden bar. There used to be a lady by the name of Teresa, or maybe a guy named Porter that worked in there. Then at the back, they had a pool table, and that was pretty much it. Back past the pool table to the right, they had 2 bathrooms. Then there was a door back there that you could go to the right, and it would take you outside to the street. So a lot of times we'd be in there shooting dice. Like I explained to y'all, a lot of times in my earlier Montana stories, you had a lot of pimps out there. And so we'd be in there shooting dice either on the pool table, on the floor, whatever. So now this particular night, we in there shooting pool, man. I know it was me. We in there shooting dice. I know it was me. Ricky Sweetwater, a couple of pimps, Ice Cream, a few of us. We in there, we shooting dice on the pool table. Now, and it's like a Friday night, so it's crowded up in there, So all of a sudden, you hear that big old wooden door come flying open like, boom! And then a dude go to yelling, who wants to fight the fat man? Who think they can whip the fat man? So now I look over, it is the dude that I told you guys earlier about, Larry Foster Sr. Now, this dude is obviously drunk. He got his shirt off. He coming up in there tripping. Who wants to whoop the fat man? Who wants to fight the fat man? He in there banging on his belly and stuff like that, So I'm like, what the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, he come up the little pavement part to bring him into the bar. He look at a dude and say, you think you can whoop the fat man? You think you can whip the fat man? The dude turn around and say, huh? What's going on, man? He said, you think you can whip the fat man? Boom, boom, boom. Just hit him, knocked him down. Now, the dude happened to be with a girl, right? So the lady, she said, you fucking jerk. She ran up on him swinging. He hit her. Boom, knocked her down. Bitches can get it too. Bitches can get it too. Who wants to fight the fat man? He started banging on his belly, right? Now he come over there to the pool table. He come over there to the pool table to where we over there shooting dice at. Now I guess, some of these dudes had known this dude, growing up in Montana. I guess he been running around there, kicking ass. He was known for fighting or whatever. So now dudes is kind of like making space, giving this dude room, right? So now he runs up over there. He says, hey, what's going on? Sweetwater. Now Sweetwater, he had been in Montana for a long time too. So he knew this dude real well too, man. He said, hey, Larry, what's going on, man? You tripping? He said, no, who wants to fight the fat man? He said, hey, you ain't still fucking with God, is you? Now, when he say that, he talking to me, right? So I don't know, at the time, I don't know what the hell this dude is talking about, right? But I had a 380 in my pocket. So I reached in there, grabbed my 380. I took a step back. So when he say, hey, you ain't fucking with God, are you? Sweetwater step up. Sweetwater said, come on, Come on, Larry, this is Chris's cousin. He says, yeah, I know, but nobody fucks with God. So then he stepped and he walked the other way. So like I said, later on, I realized probably what he was talking about was his son, because like I told y'all, from time to time, I'd see his son, I'd hop out and gangbang on his son. But like I said, I reached in my pocket. I had a 380. The fat man didn't know it, but his big ass was about to get deflated that night if he had came fucking with me. So then he walk around the pool table, and it's an Indian dude happens to be coming out of the bathroom. Now, this Indian dude was probably, I used to see him down there all the time, man. This Indian dude was maybe about 5'11", real thin dude, maybe about, I don't know, 165 or something. He said, who wants to fight the fat man? You think you can whip the fat man? The dude looked at him and said, huh? You think you can whip the fat man? The dude said, man, what are you talking about? He said, here's what I'm talking about. Boom, boom, boom. Gave him 3, knocked him right to the ground, right? Now, you can look at the fat man and tell that, the style that he was using to put these grown men to sleep like tired toddlers at a daycare, you could tell he didn't have any, phenomenal pugilistic prowess. He was just hitting these cats with looping lefts and roundhouse rights. You know what I'm saying? So he knocked the Indian dude out. Then he bangs on his belly. The fat man's in the house. The fat man's in the house. Who wants to fight the fat man? So now, like, by this time, people in the bar, they see what's going on. So now dudes is clearing out. They getting up out of there, right? Now, there happened to be this one dude. He has a large Hispanic family out there. And they was known for causing ruckus and doing their thing, too. Now, I believe his name was Ray. I'm not quite 100% sure about that. But now, Ray is still sitting at the bar drinking his beer. Now, Ray was a small dude. Ray probably was about 5'6", maybe about 145, small dude, he up there just chilling. He probably is, I don't know, maybe in his late 20s, early 30s, somewhere around there, maybe not that old. He's sitting at the bar chilling, drinking his drink, drinking his beer. Pretty much the bar damn near didn't cleared out except for, a few of the pimps in there, people who pretty much know Larry real good. Everybody else had got up out of there. Excuse me. So now he walk up to the dude. He say, hey, Ray, where's that damn $30 that you owe me? Ray looked at him. He said, come on, Larry, man. That was 15 years ago. Larry said, I don't care. You still owe it. He went to swing on him. So when he swing on him, Ray was pretty much expecting, or now Ray see what's going on, so Ray is used to it. But now Ray was sitting on a bar stool. So when he went to swing on him, Ray ducked and kind of fell off the bar stool. Larry kind of get on top of him, going to throw these haymakers and stuff. Now, like I say, Larry is drunk. He's swinging these haymakers. Ray crawled through Larry's legs, stood up, grabbed his beer off the countertop, and that motherfucker got up out of there. I guess he was like, man, I'm up out of here. Fuck this shit. So he went on outside. So now when he goes outside, Larry kind of like follows him outside. He's still hollering, who thinks they can beat the fat man? Who wants to fight the fat man? So now Ricky Sweetwater, he go outside. He trying to talk to him and calm him down. He like, calm down, man. Kick back, man. He's like, nope, can't nobody whoop the fat man. The fat man's in the house. The fat man's in the house. So now as he's standing right there, it's a dude coming from around the corner. It's a black dude coming around the corner. And he said, hey, who wants to fight the fat man? You think you can whip the fight? You think you can whip the fat man? I think it might have been Junior Lee. It was a black dude out there by the name of Junior Lee, if I'm not mistaken, right? But soon Junior Lee seen the fat man tripping, he backed up. He said, hey, Larry, come on, man. So he backed up and he left. So now Larry is in the street like, the fat man's in the house. It's the fat man. So now, coming from across the street was a dude by the name of Sleeper. Sleeper was a black dude. Sleeper had also been out there. Matter of fact, Sleeper, I believe, had a brother out there by the name of Peel. And so he goes up to Sleeper. They in the middle of the street. Now, obviously, Sleeper see that he's drunk, see that he's tripping. He was like, hey, Sleeper, what's up with that shit? You going to my mom's house at 12 o'clock at night, knocking on the door. Now, at that time, Sleeper might have been indulging in a little drugs, may not have been himself. But, of course, Sleeper had lived out there in Montana, too. So him and Larry knew each other well. So from the conversation that they was having, I guess Sleeper had went past there knocking on his parents' house real late at night or something. Larry was upset about that. Now, Sleeper probably was about 5'10", about 175, 180, you know, and Sleeper was probably about 35, 40 years old too. Sleeper wasn't scared of the fat man though, so he telling him, go on, Larry. I'm telling you, go on, Larry. Go on, Larry. So Sleeper is telling him, go on, Larry. I'm telling you, man, go on, Larry. Go on, Larry. So Sleeper's kind of backing up. Here come the fat man throwing his looping lefts and roundhouse rights. Woo, woo. So they go to locking up, squabbing for a minute. Bing, bing, boo, pop, boo. Now, Sleeper can fight a little bit, so he backing up. Bing, boo, boo. But his power really don't have enough weight to really knock down the fat man. Then all of a sudden, a police car hit the corner. It hit the lights and stuff. So they go their separate ways. Sweetwater, he go out there. He gets Larry. Sweetwater tell the police, hey man, it ain't nothing, man. I got it. I guess they had known Larry, you know what I'm saying? He walked Larry over there to the side. I guess take him to the car or something like that, man. And that was a night, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's just one funny night, man, when Larry Foster Sr. came in the arcade drunk, tripping, asking who wants to fight the fat man, and he pretty much cleared that bar out that night. But anyway, y'all already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. That's one of my Montana stories. Resume normal program.